If you want to be taken more seriously at work, your words matter. Here's how to sound more professional in conversations at work. I'm going to go through useful phrases, what to avoid, how to adapt to different situations, and different levels of formalities. Let's jump in. Okay, so every language is different, every culture is different. And when we're using English in the global marketplace, when we're doing business with global teams, you're dealing with a lot of different cultures, a lot of different languages coming together and communicating in English. So sometimes what's professional in your language may not be professional in English, and vice versa, and vice versa. So I'm going to go through a couple key points here. First of all, we'll look at some key principles for sounding more professional in conversations at work. The first one is be clear. Be clear. So not speaking with words like stuff and things. Not if so if you want to say no, you say no. You say no politely. You can't really just say no, but you can't just say I'll think about it if it's a no. You'd say it doesn't really work for me right now. So you need to be clear in what you want and what you don't want. This is really important in English because people, I mean, in business, people don't have a lot of time. We don't want to waste our time. So if someone's not clear, you sound a lot less professional. So be very clear with what your expectations are. If you need something by the end of the day, don't say you need it ASAP. Say you need it by the end of the day, EOD. So be very clear in your instructions, your requests, and people will appreciate that. And that makes you come across a lot more professionally in English. Another one is to be concise. Now, concise is this many words in a small little package. So to be concise means you're just not going on and on and on in a topic. If you say something once, don't say it again. If you need to reinforce the importance of something, of course you can repeat it once again. And if you do need to again reinforce it, then paraphrase, use different words. But you don't want to just fill up the air or fill up your emails or your chats with a lot of words. Get to the point. What are you trying to say? Then, if you need to soften things up, because in English we do need to be quite polite, instead of saying, no, that's a bad idea, this is not really what we're looking at doing at the moment, but thanks for bringing it to me. So, yeah, there are more words there, but you do need that for politeness. But you're not doing extra things. You're not saying because or however. You're not going on to more details. It's not necessary. So, be as concise as possible. I have seen a lot of people doing. My students from different cultures sending emails with long paragraphs of text. We don't do that in English. In English, we really do chop up our paragraphs per topic. Sentences should not be 3 or 4 lines long, usually about 2 lines long. So being concise, we appreciate it in English, and it's kind of the standard in English. So this is how you can sound more professional. Of course, we're talking about conversations here, but when it comes to being concise, this comes with emails. It also comes with speaking. So if you want to talk to your boss about something and you want to request a deadline extension, be clear. Don't say, oh, well, I was hoping because it's kind of difficult that our team, we're down one staff member. What do you want? Be clear. Hi, I was hoping to get an extension on our project deadline. You're being clear with what you want. And you're not saying I need an extension on the project deadline because, if, I need extension on the project deadline because we're down one staff member. That's it. You don't have to go into a long story of what you've been working on. You don't have to do a lot of background. It's not a Hollywood movie. Keep it concise. People appreciate you. Get to the point politely. You're concise. You say exactly what you mean. And the next point here is politeness. Now, a lot of languages and cultures speak a lot more directly than we do in English. And I think it's actually wonderful you do that because there's so much extra we have to add in English, but it's necessary and you have to do it. Now, depending on what part of the English world you're working with, British English is kind of the highest level of politeness. And then when it comes down on the scale of English is American English, but it's still very polite. It's still a lot more polite than a lot of languages like Spanish or German or Russian or Arabic. We really do add a lot of politeness on top. So instead of saying, I need to move the meeting to next Tuesday, I was hoping we could move the meeting to next Tuesday. Would it be possible to move the meeting to next Tuesday? I was wondering if you could move the meeting to next Tuesday. So move the meeting to next Tuesday. You have to add a couple words on the on either side of your request just to make it more polite. And it's really the standard. It's really necessary. It has to be done. And again, when it comes to being polite, small talk plays a role in that too. If you just go into a meeting, go onto a call, and you get down to business immediately without a little "how is your day going so far," that's part of being polite, and that's really necessary, and that's very standard. It doesn't have to be long. It could just be "how's your day going so far," or "great to see you again," or "how have you been." So it could be short. It doesn't have to be this long small talk about the weather or sports. Not at all, but you do have to have a little bit of politeness that goes in with it. So those are some key principles there. Be clear, be concise, and be very, very polite. Now, when it comes to your tone, there is formal English, informal English, and neutral English. I'm a firm believer the best business English is a combination of the two. And I know what I'm talking about. If you know me, I've written the Global Business English Mastery series. My background is in business. I've worked for major corporations across the English speaking world, and I've spent the last 7 years teaching business English to global teams worldwide. I know business English, and business English globally, unless you're in a really conservative industry like banking or government or maybe law. Otherwise, it's really a combination of formal and informal. You want to bring that together. That's a beautiful spot of business English. So watch your tone. You don't want to be too informal if it's quite a formal environment. You don't want to be overly formal if it's quite a casual environment. And even most environments for business, I would say 80% are kind of neutral. They're in the middle. This is why it's best to have that combination. And if you're talking too formal than other people, you will not sound more professional. You will not sound more capable. You will not sound more intelligent. You will sound old fashioned and out of touch. So it's not a good thing. You don't want to do it. Likewise, if you're coming in there like, "hey guys, how's it going?" and you're really casual using lots of slang, lots of jargon, more than other people use, you're going to sound a little inexperienced. You're not going to sound very professional. So you have to really kind of marry those two. Yes, use formal English. Yes, use jargon and slang. Mix them up, and that's really the perfect tone you want for business English. And again, listen to people around you. Listen to how your clients talk. Listen to how your colleagues talk. Listen to how management talks and kind of match that tonality. That's very important. And of course, when it comes to a situation, you're going to match your formality and your vocabulary to that situation. So if it's a brand new client or if it's clients you meet with, I don't know, every 6 months, well, there's a relationship there. You can be a bit more casual, you can be a bit more friendly, a bit more open. Small talks extends a little bit longer. Maybe you know a little bit about their family or their life or their department. And if it's someone new, it's going to be not so personal. I mean, you don't want to get personal in business unless you have a long standing relationship with them. Okay, let's start filling up your professional conversation toolkit. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through several situations that come up in business conversations, and I'm going to give you lots of different phrases and things you can say depending on the situation and also depending on the formalities. The very first one, I mean, you are an ESL learner, you're an ESL professional, so you're going to have to ask people to repeat something when they're saying something. And it could just be from an online meeting, someone's audio cuts out. You need them to repeat something. Or more often than not, it's a conversation and they're using a term you don't know or their accent's quite thick. So asking for repetition is essential. And you probably do need to have a lot of different synonyms for this and different ways to say it and still sound professional. So, the first one, if you're asking someone to repeat something, there's a great way to say this, and you can say, "Sorry, can you run that by me again? Can you run that by me again?" And to run something by someone just means to say something. So, "can you run that by me again?" It just means please repeat. I mean, if you're watching my videos, you're going to be upper intermediate to advanced level English speaker. You're too advanced to say, "Can you please repeat?" You're too advanced. That's way too basic. Don't use it. So, "can you run that by me again?" That's a very good one. Or, "hold up, what did you say?" Hold up. Hold up means please wait. So if the conversation keeps going, but you need to go, "Whoa, I didn't catch that last part. Hold up. What did you say?" or what did you just say, which just means please wait. Can you repeat what you just said, basically? So someone says something really quickly and they start going on to another topic. Hold up, what did you just say? And it just means 1 second. Please repeat that last part. Another one could be come again. And come again just means I didn't quite catch you, or I didn't quite catch that. So come again just means I didn't understand it. Please repeat it. The whole come again, 2 words means I didn't understand it. Please repeat it. Or you can say I didn't catch that. And that's another synonym. I didn't catch that just means just please repeat it. So if you say come again when someone's talking, it means you're asking them to repeat. If you say I didn't catch that, you're asking them to repeat. So you're in an online meeting and they say next meeting is going to be Monday at, and their audio cuts out. I didn't catch that. Oh, next meeting will be Monday at 4 o'clock. Or next meeting will be Monday at, audio cuts out. Come again, and they'll repeat. Next meeting will be Monday at 3 o'clock. So that will get them to repeat it 100%. That's all it is. So those are kind of a bit more casual or informal. And again, don't be scared of talking informal in business. You just want to mix it up a little bit. Next ones are quite neutral. Sorry, I missed that. And if you say, sorry, I missed that, it just means what you said just flew past me. And it, for whatever reason, it was too fast. You were thinking about something else. You're taking notes. There was bad connection, whatever. You're not saying why you missed it, but sorry, I missed that. And then they'll go over and they'll say it again for you. They'll repeat it for you. Or would you mind saying that again? Would you mind going over that again? And that just means, would you mind? It's very polite, please. Would you mind saying that again? Would you mind going over that again? And so going over as opposed to saying again, saying something again, saying is just saying it. And going over that again is when something they said was a little bit longer. So maybe more than a sentence. If you want them to repeat that bit, then would you mind going over that again? That's a great one. Or now to the formal would be, sorry, could you please repeat that? And then you can use repeat. Because repeat's a very good word in English, but it's quite formal. So sorry, can you please repeat that? And it's fine. It's fine. Again, you don't want to be overly formal in business English, but this is fine here. And sorry, apologies, the audio wasn't really clear. Can you go over the last statement? So apologies, quite formal, and the audio wasn't quite clear. Would you mind? Again, you're being quite polite, going over the last statement or the last bit you just said. So those are great ones to say when you need someone to repeat. My suggestion for you is the most common is, I didn't catch that. Or could you go over that again? Would you mind running that by me again? And those are the most common. Again, you want to kind of be in the middle of business English formality. Okay, so sometimes it's not that you need someone to repeat what they said, you just don't understand what they say. And if you ask them to repeat it, it's not going to help you because they used a term or a word you don't know. So there's lots of ways to say, can you please paraphrase that for me in a way that you're still going to sound professional and competent in the work that you do. So this is when someone uses a word and you're like, I don't know what that word is. So if they repeat it, it's not going to help you. You need to have them repeat what they're saying using different words. So what you can say is, I'm not following. Can you break it down for me? And so someone says, we need to, blah, 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 blah. Well, if they repeat that, it's not going to help you. I'm not following. Can you break it down for me? Sure, will be their response. And we need to do this. Bum, bum, bum. They're going to give you details on that. And this, dun, 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 and this is the reason why. Dun, dun, dun. They're gonna give you bullet points on everything. So this is great. And I mean, even for me, if I'm talking to a native English speaker and they say something, and I was like, and maybe it's a concept I don't understand, maybe it's a new term I don't know, and I can say, I'm not following. Can you break it down for me? So they will take that word or that term or what they're trying to say, and they will give it to me in bullet points. So by using these phrases I'm going to teach you here, it doesn't bring your level of English down. People will not judge you like you don't understand that word. You don't know that word. No, it just means I need you to dive deeper into something. So there's a lot of psychology that goes along to this. You don't want to say, I don't understand. What's that word? I don't know that word. No, those are all kind of negative things to say, and it brings down people's perception of you as an English speaker or as a professional. So you want to avoid those. Here's some better ones. So I'm not quite following, or I'm not following. Can you break it down for me? That's a good one. Or that went over my head. Can you put it another way? So if something goes over your head, It says this: flies over your head. None of the information went into your head. So when someone gives you an explanation that's a bit too elaborate means detailed for you, or it's a bit too long for you, or maybe they weren't really structured in how they presented it to you, or you just don't know the word altogether, and you're saying, can you put it in another way? Can you put it another way? Meaning, say the same thing in a different way. And so then you're going to have a repetition, but all new words. So hopefully from that, you can piece together the meaning of what they're trying to say. That's a good one. Another one you can say is, I'm lost. Can you give me the short version? So to say I'm lost means that when someone's speaking, they're speaking for a long time and they're giving lots of details and they're throwing lots of important information to you, but they're not doing it in a very concise or organized way or cohesive way. It's kind of scattered. Like scattered means like bits here, bits there. It's not a clear timeline or a clear line of thought. So if you can say, I'm a bit lost, or, you lost me there. Can I get the short version? So what they're going to take is all that information they said over 5 minutes. They're going to take it down to one or two sentences. And they'll probably, you're kind of asking them for the short version. You're asking them to be concise. They'll probably use quite simple, direct words. So this is a really good one. Another one would be, I'm not sure I fully understand. Can you explain this another way? So this kind of does say, I don't really understand what you're saying, but you can say, I'm not sure I fully understand. And that's important to add that fully in there, meaning I want to 100% understand what you're saying. I'm not quite there. I'm at 80. Maybe you're at 20, but they don't know. So I'm not sure I fully understand. Can you explain it another way? Explain it another way, which means paraphrase it. Give it to me from a different angle. Give me more details. Give me more synonyms. Give me more perspective. Give me anything else. And so they will dive deeper into this. So you're not asking them to repeat. You're asking them to dive a little bit deeper into something. Another one would be, I'm not sure I quite follow. Can you clarify what you mean by? So this is if someone says a sentence, or they're speaking in a presentation in a meeting and you have no idea what that one word means, or it could be a term, but like a one term or one word. And so you're not asking them to paraphrase everything. It's just that one term. And you're not saying, I don't know that word, because that's not very professional. You're saying, I don't quite follow. Could you clarify what you mean by? And now, if it's a word that you don't feel confident repeating to them because maybe it's a totally new word, you don't want to get the pronunciation off, or they said it so long ago you forgot the word, but there's a word back there, but you can't remember what it was. You could say, I don't quite follow. Could you clarify what you mean by that last part, or what you mean by the word you use for the difficulty we're going to have with the client, or you can describe the situation around that, and that's a really good one. A little bit more formal, you could say, I don't quite grasp the meaning of what you're talking about. Could you elaborate on that? So to grasp is like I can grasp a pencil in my hand. Grasp means to hold, but to grasp a meaning in English means to truly, like, your brain takes it, understands it. So if you don't quite grasp someone's meaning, it's quite formal, and it just means I don't fully understand what you're trying to say. Would you mind elaborating? And to elaborate means to give more details on something. So this is fantastic. I'm afraid I don't quite grasp the meaning. I'm afraid means I'm sorry, if you didn't know that. And I'm sorry is a little bit sheepish. I'm afraid it still means sorry, or I'm sorry, or excuse me. But it's quite nice and quite formal. So I'm afraid I didn't quite grasp your meaning. Can you elaborate on that? Would you mind elaborating on that? Could you elaborate on that? Would you mind elaborating on that? Those are all quite polite. If you say, "Can you elaborate on that?" That's a little bit basic. So you want to say "could" or "would you mind?" And elaborate means give more details. So the person then will take this and go, oh, "Okay," and they'll give you more details. So would you mind elaborating? So if you didn't understand one word or didn't understand a full concept, well, they'll elaborate. They'll give you more words. They'll give you more situations. They'll give you more details for everything. That's a fantastic one. And the last one I could say, in quite formal situations, you could say, forgive me. Could you please go over that again for clarity? So you're saying forgive me because you're appreciating their time. You're appreciating they already said a full sentence to you or a full 5 minutes of explanation to you for a job posting you're going into. So you're saying forgive me. Can you go through that again? Or can you go over that again? Can you elaborate on that again? So by saying forgive me means listen, I know you've just spent time explaining this. I need you to go over it again. So by saying forgive me just means, oh, I'm sorry. I know you're busy and I know you already said this. Go over this again. But you're not saying I'm sorry. You're saying forgive me. Could you go over that again? Would you mind going over that again? Would you mind elaborating again on that? Okay, next we have agreeing and disagreeing professionally. So there are situations, I mean, it could be in negotiations, it could be in an interview, it could be talking to your manager, talking to your team, it could be deciding where to go for lunch with your colleagues. There's lots of different ways you can agree and disagree. So I'm going to break them down here, and the situations are kind of endless for agreeing and disagreeing, but I'll break them down here by formality. So the first one for agreeing would be I'm totally with you. And if you say, or even just I'm with you. And someone could say, oh, this project, I think it's going to be a nightmare. I don't think this is the best project for our team to be working on right now. And you can say, I'm totally with you, or I'm with you, which means I agree. I agree 100%. Or, the new HR manager is fantastic. She's really putting a lot of great policies into place. I'm totally with you. Yeah, I'm with you on that. And it just means I 100% agree with you. It's a fantastic one. By saying totally, totally makes your vocabulary a little more slang, a little more modern. So you can take out totally and just say, I'm with you. And that just means I 100% agree. I'm with you. Another one would be exactly. That's what I thought too. So exactly. And this is not even like, this is more kind of neutral, just saying exactly. That's what I thought too. Exactly. That's what I think too. This is going to be a really difficult project to roll out and meet the deadline with. Exactly. That's what I thought too. Or exactly. That's what I think too. So you're saying exactly. You're confirming 100% what you're saying. I'm with you on that. And I agree with you 100%. Or you can also say, I'm completely on the same page with you. And to be on the same, let's just think about a book. If I'm reading a book and you're reading a book and we're on the same page, we're agreeing on something. We're in the same situation. So I'm on the same page with you, or I'm totally on the same page with you, which means I completely agree with you on that one. Another one would be I'm fully aligned with your perspective on this. And this is quite formal, but in some situations, you need to say, like, I 100% agree with where we're going with this. And again, you don't want to be too informal in business and you don't want to be super formal either. So if you say, I'm fully aligned with your perspective on this, or I'm fully aligned with where you want to go with this, I'm fully aligned with this project idea that you have. So it just means I'm fully aligned. It means I'm completely on the same page as you. I'm completely in agreement with you. And you can also say, I wholeheartedly support your suggestion. I wholeheartedly support this. I wholeheartedly support this project. And wholeheartedly means my whole heart is in something. This is quite formal. It's quite strong, but if you want to say like this means so much. I completely 100% will back this. I agree with this. I think it's fantastic. You can say wholeheartedly. Not very common, but it's quite good when you really want to have your words pack a punch, which means have a lot of impact. Wholeheartedly means 100% of my heart, even though it's business, is involved in this. It's fantastic. I would say my favorite ones here would be, that's exactly what I was thinking as well. Or because exactly, these are great words. They're so precise in their meaning that they're a very strong word. Or I'm on the same page as with you, on the same page as you, or I'm completely with you, or I'm with you on that. Those are both really good ones. Now disagreeing. That's a lot more difficult, isn't it? It's a lot more difficult. So we have to be quite careful with the words that we use in English. Again, like in English, you must always remain quite polite. You can't say no. You can't just say no. It's impossible. You really just can't say no in English, or that's a bad idea, or I disagree. In professional environments, in business English, you really have to up the politeness, and you want to avoid saying no or I disagree. You really want some synonyms there. So this is really paramount that you learn these words or these different ways of saying, I don't agree with you. So one would be, I don't see it that way. And by saying I don't see it that way means, hey, that's the way you see it from your perspective. This is how I see it from my perspective, and it's different. So it just means I don't agree with you, but it's you're not saying the word I don't agree. Anytime we can avoid saying any negative words, disagree, dis is negative. I don't agree, don't is negative. No, no is negative, right? So you want to avoid negative words as much as possible in business English. This is great. I don't see it that way, which means I disagree, but only because my perspective, my experience, my knowledge, whatever, causes me to have a different opinion from you. I disagree with you. Another one would be, I hear you, but I'm not quite sure. And I hear you is not about hearing. I hear you means I understand where you're coming from. And so you can say, I hear you, or I hear where you're coming from, but I'm not so sure. I'm not quite sure. So I hear you acknowledges that I understand what you're saying. I understand the importance of something. I understand, that you believe a lot about in this project, but I disagree with you. I hear with you, but I'm not sure about this. Or I hear you, but I'm not sure this is the best thing to do. So you're saying I hear you, meaning I acknowledge, I understand what you said and your perspective, but you don't agree with them. Another one would be, that's interesting, but the data suggests otherwise. That's interesting, but our history suggests otherwise. That's interesting, but my experience suggests otherwise. This is pretty firm. This is pretty firm. But you're saying that's interesting. You're acknowledging that what they offered, a suggestion, an idea, their opinion, their 2 cents. 2 cents is someone's opinion on something. So you're acknowledging that you appreciate. You're like, oh, that's interesting. That's interesting. But so that's interesting. Thank you for bringing that to me. I appreciate it. But the data suggests otherwise, or our experience with this client suggests otherwise. Meaning, this is great what you said, but this is a different case. So I'm disagreeing with you because this case is different for whatever reason. Another one would be, I appreciate your view, but I think we should propose an alternative. I appreciate your view. I appreciate your feedback. I appreciate your thoughts, your ideas, but I propose an alternative. I propose doing this. I propose doing that. So by saying appreciate, this is it's called a feedback sandwich. And the sandwich has bread, the contents inside, and bread. So you're saying something nice, something bad, and then something nice on top. So I appreciate your view. That's your bread. But I need to respectfully propose an alternative, or I propose we should go with this. So you're kind of softening the blow, softening the impact there. Softening the blow is an idiom. Think of boxers. Boxers wear gloves, right? It softens the blow. Blow means hit, and the glove, the boxer's glove, will soften the hit. That's what it means, soften the blow. So it's a way of saying, I disagree with you. Your perspective is valid, but I suggest another approach. And it's quite polite and it's quite nice. Okay, when it comes to conversations in business, often we have to make suggestions, and there's different ways to make suggestions without being too pushy or matching the formality of situations that you're in and sounding a lot more professional than just saying, can we? I think there's a lot of different ways to say this. So, this is a good one. So, making suggestions, you can say, how about we give this a shot? How about we give client B a shot? How about we give candidate B a shot? How about we give this new supplier a shot? And a shot just means a try. Let's see how they go. And how about means I think we should, or why don't we? That's what it means. So how about we give, maybe you're looking for a new supplier for water for the office. How about we give company B a shot, which means let's try them and see how they do. So that's a good one. How about we give company B a shot? Another one would be, let's see what happens with this, which just means you're giving a suggestion. So again, maybe you're looking at getting a new lawyer to come on board, and you can say, well, how about we see how this goes? How about we test out this and see what happens? So again, you're saying, how about, why don't we? And these are great ways of offering a suggestion instead of saying I think, or I know, or I want. How about, why don't we? And those are great ways to get your suggestion in there by being very, very polite. Or if you're kind of in this situation where you're discussing problem solving and trying to solve an issue at work and you want to bring in your suggestion, you can say, how about, or why don't we give this a shot? Of course, that's work, but works really well. You could also say, maybe we could try this approach, or we could try this approach, or we could approach this differently. An approach is like if you're walking towards something, you're approaching it. So, but we could approach something. You also can approach a problem, an issue, which means you're walking towards it, you're dealing with it. So we could approach it differently. Perhaps we could approach it differently. Maybe we could approach it differently. By saying maybe, it's a little bit sheepish. I just say, we could approach it differently. Or you could say maybe we should approach it differently if you want to be very, very polite with your suggestion there. Another one would be, it might be worth exploring another option. So to explore, I'm sure you know the word explore, and explorers, these are people who discover things. Well, a company can explore, a person can explore, a department can explore, and another option, another idea, another solution to a problem, another anything. So you can say it might be worth exploring another option. It might be worth exploring a new restaurant to take the client to, which just means to discover something new. So it might be worth, anytime we add in these modal verbs, we may, we could, we might. I mean, this kind of really ups the formality. It's really nice, especially in making suggestions. And of course, you could say it a bit more formal is, can I suggest we explore an alternative course of action? So, can I suggest, or may I suggest, an alternative course of action, or that we explore an alternative course of action? Course of action is the course, the route of action you're going to take to solve your problems or to get to your goals. And you're saying, can I suggest, or may I suggest, or could I suggest we explore an alternative course of action? So I want to suggest something a little bit different from what's okay. So a conversation, a professional conversation has two sides to it, a hello and a goodbye. And so we're going to tackle these right now. So, different ways of saying hello, depending on what you want from the situation, depending on your relationship with the person you're talking with, and depending on the formality, of course. So, hello and goodbye are paramount. I would say hello really sets the stage for a conversation, whether it's talking to a boss, walking into a meeting with clients, meeting someone online for the first time, or running into a colleague in the elevator. It doesn't matter. Hello is pretty important, and different ways to say hello is appreciated by people because hello is so standard. So, hey there, that's a good one. This is pretty informal. Hey there, hi there. And hey there, when you say hey, it's pretty informal. A little bit more formal is hi there. And this is quite cheerful. There's a lot of there's a smile in that. Hi there. Just by saying there, it's a little cheerful. It's a little friendly, a little bit more friendly. What's up? This is where the app WhatsApp comes from. What's up? That's very common. Or morning. And often we'll just say morning to people. And this is quite neutral. I wouldn't even call this slang. We just say morning. And you wouldn't say afternoon, you wouldn't say night, but you can say morning. It's just a shortened form of good morning. Another one would be, how are you doing today? How's your day going so far? I hope your day's treating you well. How have you been? What'd you get up to over the weekend? What are you working on right now? So by asking, if you do want this hello to kind of go into a longer conversation, hey, how have you been? What are you working on? What have you been up to? And this is literally a replacement for saying hello. Oh, what have you been up to? And it just means, tell me what you've been doing since the last time I talked to you. So depending on if you just want to say hello, don't say this. But if you do want the person to fill you in on what they've been working on or what they've been doing in their personal or professional life, this is a very good one. A little bit more formal would be, oh, it's a pleasure to meet you. So this is the first time you're meeting someone for the first time, and maybe you've been emailing back and forth with them, or you've been talking with them on chats, and oh, it's a pleasure to meet you. And this is very polite. It's formal, but this does really fit into a lot of business situations. It's a pleasure to meet with you, or to meet you. If you say it's a pleasure to meet with you, it means we're having a meeting. So it means you've probably met them before. Okay. If you say it's a pleasure to meet you, it's the first time you met them. So careful. Meet you and meet with you is different. Or I hope your day's going well. I hope you're doing well today. And that's very nice because you're giving someone some positive feedback or some positive hope or some positive words. I hope your day's going well. I hope your day's treating you well. That's a common one as well. This is great with clients and with your boss. You walk into your boss's office and you say, oh, hello, Mr. Jones. I hope your day's going well. I hope your day's treating you well. And it's so polite, meaning I hope I hope you're having a great day and you're wishing someone well. So that's a really great one. Now, alternatives to goodbye. There's a lot more alternatives to goodbye. And I mean, first of all, with colleagues, and if you're working quite an informal work environment, you can say see ya or see you later. Those work. Even just later. Actually, yeah, you can say see you later, see ya, or later. So I'm going home, guys. See ya. See ya. I'm going home, guys. Later. Later. I'm going home, guys. See you later. See you later. So all those three work perfectly. Or catch you later is pretty common. And catch you later is probably the most common in this kind of informal section I have for you. And catch you later just means I'll see you next time I see you. So you'd only say catch you later to someone if you know you're going to see them again. So this would be a client or a service provider or someone you work with on a regular basis or a colleague. Catch you later. And that's a great one. Take care is a bit more neutral, and take care just the end of the workday. Take care when everyone's going home or you finished an online meeting. Thanks everyone for joining us. That was a great productive meeting. Take care, everyone. Take care. It just means thank you and goodbye. It just means take care. Be safe and enjoy your life until the next time I see you. Take care. One thing about take care, you don't have to see them again. So it could be someone you see every single day, or it could be someone you're never gonna see again. Take care works in all those situations. Another one would be talk soon or speak soon, or talk later, speak later. This is a bit more neutral, and this means you know you're going to talk with them again. So don't say this if you're not going to talk to someone again. Speak soon, talk later, speak later. And this just means we will speak or we will talk later. And of course, have a good day. I'll be in touch. This is quite formal. I'll be in touch just means, and to be in touch means I will contact you. So if I say I'll be in touch, it means I'll contact you. Don't contact me. So you can say, let's stay in touch. Let's keep in touch. This means that both of us are responsible for keeping in touch, for messaging, for calling, for texting. That's fine. But if you say I'll be in touch, it means don't contact me. I'll contact you. So if someone's trying to sell you something and you're not interested, you say, thank you so much for your time. I'll be in touch. It just means, well, if I'm interested, I'll call you, but don't call me. So careful with that one. And if it's quite formal, if you're meeting in a quite formal industry or interviewing or meeting with a client you're trying to get, you can say, I look forward to speaking with you again. I look forward to our next meeting. And look forward to, careful, this is followed by a gerund. Phrasal verbs look forward to, when a phrasal verb is when you have a verb and an article, a particle or a preposition. And when you have look forward to, that's the next verb. It's going to be a gerund. So look forward to speaking with you again soon. Look forward to seeing you next time. Look forward to our next meeting if you go right into a noun. So looking forward to, this is fantastic. Or I wish you a great day. Thank you so much for your time. I wish you a great day. Or I appreciate all of your insights. I appreciate your input. Until next time. And until next time is quite romantic, but it's quite beautiful in a business environment. Until next time, which means you've really enjoyed your conversation today and you're looking forward to the next one. There we go. So there you go. So I've gone through quite a few different phrases here and that you can use in different parts of the conversation, and finish it off with goodbye. So there you go. Thank you so much for your time, everybody. I hope you did enjoy this. I hope this is useful. I hope you filled up your toolkit of professional synonyms and conversation tools you can use in different formalities in different situations. Thank you so much for watching my video and being here. I look forward to the next one for you guys. Take care.